splitting off with them and that library stuff, and I'm not sure about all that, because they spent a lot of money and did a lot of work to get that going with Garland, and then that new librarian has came in there and doesn't want to do it anymore.
Right, I'm going to have a talk with, I have a meeting with the mayor tomorrow.
Okay.
And so we'll talk about
That's
that.
on your list, okay.
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I feel like that, I mean, I felt like that was a good thing when they did that, and then, and I
Shared
know it took
library
them a lot of
cards and
work,
everything.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
yes.
We're glad you joined us.
And the senior center said they're doing, good,
Yeah.
good.
It's awesome.
And she said the bait group, that bike, or motorcycle group
Yes.
furnished the meat and helped do some things with it,
Yeah.
and I thought that was good. Their health fair is March 29th. Anyone can go to that. And then the food pantries have that food drive on March 14th.
Okay,
I think that's
sounds
all I
great.
have.
Thank you. Blair, you got anything?
I don't, we got a meeting tomorrow, but
Okay. Yeah, we're, Blair and I and Lindsay are meeting with the hospital tomorrow to talk about hospital transfers, so.
Awesome.
Chrissy.
I have so much, I'm sorry. I'll talk fast. Public Works, they are so busy right now. They have a lot of projects on their plate. The aquifer storage recovery, the new pump has been installed at the east side. They can now supply water to Cedar Ridge subdivision, and they're working on that as we talk. When the new pump is completely installed, they'll be able to pump water into the aquifer storage, just kind of to test it out. And then they'll start pumping in the fall. The widening of 1200 South, they've had their pre-construction meeting for this project. All agreements are in place. The contractor has not, well, as of last week, hadn't quite started yet, but that is coming along and they'll get going on that. East Canal Equalization Basin, they held a pre-construction meeting last week. Breger and Sons did get the bid for that, and they will be starting on that, and that will go really fast. This will only take approximately 2 months to do it. South Main Street culinary water line replacement, Breger and Sons is doing that also. They have 2 crews. So 2 crews can be working at the same time. He says this will take about 3 months to complete, but they printed out flyers and took flyers around to the residents that are going to be affected by this. I thought that was a great thing to do, and so they're going to start on that. Jeff Sedal with Community Development, he's working with River's Edge to clarify and adjust their master plan agreement. Jeff has met with most of the NPI groups that Christine Epling is doing this past month. He's reorganized the fee and invoice tracking for Public Works, Treasurer, and Planning Committee. And I had a chance to attend the Planning Commission meeting last week, and it was really good. A lot of great things come out of it. The development of Cloverfield Estates Phase 3 was put on hold. There was a lot of good questions that was brought up by the committee, and I had a lot of hope for that. I did attend an NPI meeting last week. I just wanted to see how it worked, what was going on. I was very impressed, and there were a lot of people here with that one. The community was very excited to have a chance to be heard, to have a chance to have a say. They felt like this was their time to have input. And so there was a lot of good input and many good things come out of it. And then I had a business owner. He is opening up a realtor business across the street here in the Weiss building. And he's putting the realtor, his business in one part, and the other part he's bringing in a business. And he asked if we would, how we felt about, or if we would consider doing angle parking in front of his business also. And I said, well, I can throw it out there. I can't guarantee anything because it's going to cost a whole lot of money, and I don't know that's in the budget. So I'm just throwing it out. Don't make a decision tonight. Just keep it in the brain cells somewhere. I had a resident text me last night about concerns on the parking on 700 North, just off 300 East. It is very congested right there at the intersection. If you get people that park on both sides of the road, you don't get 2 people passing. And then there's children there is a lady that does give the children candy I have my own opinion on this, but I won't voice that. But then in order to get their little treat after school, they have to cross the road. And if you're driving down into the subdivision, it's on Holmgren West, I guess that's what you call us, the kids don't look. There's been several near misses. So my suggestion was, well, call and say, no more candy, or bring the candy on the other side of the road. But I did say I would bring it up and later discussion, but just so you know that that's going on. Old Grist Mill, I've had people reach out to me on Old Grist Mill wanting to know when it's coming in, and I found out that they need UDOT approval. The main entrance is off 9500 East. That's going into River's Edge, and hopefully they will work that out and get that going this spring. I called a towing company last week. I think the abandoned boat out there by what we used to call the crossroads is an eyesore.
Yeah, it is.
And I called because I was going to personally pay for it, because I think the thing needs to be moved. And I was told that RC Towing has towed many, many vehicles in Tremont and have not charged Tremont anything for it. They haven't asked for any reimbursement. But with the way things have been changing and turning, they're not going to do that anymore. And I totally respect what he's saying and what his concerns are. But if there's anything the city can do, hey, if I have to fork in some money, I guess I'm going to fork in some money, because that is an eyesore.
Who
Yeah.
owns that land?
Rups does, and I talked to Skylar, and they
Rups.
marked it last week, so they had to wait.
Trailer.
Okay.
It's a 5-day hold.
And it's about over, so I think they'll get somebody to come take it off. Blaine Rupp owns it, and
Awesome.
so they.
Awesome. Thank you, Blair. I do appreciate that. I hope that's all I have. That's all I have.
I have one go back on parking. I had an individual say on the east side of Library Park, the way the Engel Park there, if you have a big truck that you can't pass. Just passing that on, I don't know if parking's always a problem everywhere, but
Okay.
I can see that. Okay, thanks, Blair.
First, do you have any declaration of any conflicts of interest?
No.
Okay, now it's your turn.
My apologies for not attending the prior development meetings. I don't know why I didn't click that was unruly thing, but got one tomorrow at 9:30.
Yeah, but I think Christie's willing, you two work it out. She's willing to go to him, so whoever wants to do it, do it.
So we can discuss later. You tell me if you want to go. I've been going because
Oh,
I'm over planning commission. So
Can we
I'll
both be
wrestle.
there?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
nobody says you can't.
Well, I just didn't know if
There's no other
members
council
or-
members or mayor there, so,
Yeah, as long as there's only two.
well, it's a public meeting anyway, so.
We can tackle it together.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It is a public meeting, so all of us can be there.
Oh, yeah. See, learn something new every day. On the police side, I just want everybody to think about a couple of things. Burnout is a real thing. We are losing a very experienced detective to luckily get to keep her in-house, but she's going back to patrol just because we're getting hammered on cases. Our patrol shifts, we have one shift that has two individuals, the others have three. Mr. Mayor, I remember back in December when you asked me a question, and you said, if we had two physical domestics going on in the city at the same time, could we respond to them both? I said, no, we can't. That's a problem, especially with the uptick in the calls for service, the violent nature of those, and we were already behind, and we're even just getting that much more behind. The solution to it is basically one of three, and the chief's going to present one of the options that doesn't cost us anything for this. I understand the concerns and the questions, and I think the questions are valid and having that, but we've got to decide what type of city we want, and are our citizens getting a return on their investment, and, well, their forced investment of taxes. We've got to figure out a way to shore that up, because it's one thing it'd be one thing if we had this big lavish building and all these things, and it seemed like, money was just coming out of our ears and then coming back for more taxes. We are not in that place. I don't believe that any of our city-owned buildings would pass an inspection. That's a problem. The fix for the public safety, as we talk about the economic development and all of these things in place, and getting these companies and corporations to come and invest in our city and bring in the revenue so that the citizens don't get taxed, I think it's a great idea. But what I do know is that there are three things that they look at. One is their public safety response. If their building catches on fire, do we have the firefighters available and the equipment necessary to put it out, and hope that there's not a fire and emergency going on somewhere else so that they can actually do that. Is the police response adequate? If there are two domestics at the same time, and one of them, are the numbers of suicides and child abuse and fraud and all of these things that are coming. And right now we can't take care of that. And then they look at the condition of the city buildings. Now, I think we've done, I think the city, prior councils and everything have done a really good job of making do with what we have. And I think there's something to that. But we've got to turn the corner on coming up with funding ideas, and whether that's through grants, through whatever that mechanism is, but we've got to figure something out, or we're going to be in a bad place. And we know that, it's been a rough 5 months for the police department. I wish I could say that was an anomaly. It was up till that point. But it seems like it just opened up like a portal to hell, and we're trying to figure out how to cap it. I don't see it getting better, and I see us getting pushed farther and farther behind, and I don't want to have that happen just for the sake of being able to say, well, we didn't do a tax increase, or we didn't do this, or we didn't do this. We make sure that we're driving our vehicles for 15 years and spending more on maintenance. At some point, the concept of stepping over a dollar to pick up a dime has got to come up. So I hope that when we hear the presentation in a little bit from the chief, that we keep an open mind. I don't care a whole lot if bridging that gap comes from an ILA with Perry, or if we take care of it on our end in-house. It doesn't matter to me. Personally, I think it would be better to get those allocations from within, but the chief's just trying to figure out a way to get the manpower up, take the burnout away, and not push a tax increase.
So we got 45 minutes to talk about this later, so let's continue there. Sound
That's
good?
yep.
Okay.
Mayor, can I say something really quick? There's something I've wanted to say since January. We may not always agree up here with one another, but it's how we disagree that matters. We can disagree respectfully in this building and outside of this building, because each one of us have a different opinion. and different opinions are wonderful. So that's just my 2 bits on different opinions.
Yeah, and I think, Councilman Jackson, I think you'll agree with me. The city isn't in a doom and gloom right now. I mean, the police are doing a good job of handling things. We don't want the citizens to think they're unsafe, because the police are doing a great job. We can do a better job, but I think we need to be careful. You know, we don't want to put across the wrong message either.
I don't think the message is one of doom and gloom, but there are some real facts, and the fact of the matter is that 2 active domestics in the occurring, we can only deal with 1 at a time,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Okay, thank you. All right, Michelle, it's your turn. She's going to talk to us about real-time payments. Mhm.
This isn't quite as heavy as what you guys just. So what I was wanting to propose is us moving from express bill pay to online, Cassell. It's a payment portal. It's, real-time payments. So basically, if you make a payment, that minute, you're gonna see that payment come through on your account that minute. Right now, we have to process online payments the morning after, so it's always, you know, not quite when you do it, it's gonna be there. So what we've come up with, or Cassell has come up with, is this new portal. I went down and got some training on it. It's really cool because it not only does it do the online payments, but it also does kind of what you're wanting, Mayor, as far as you can go on and it's got the website, it's got, I mean, everything, just like today, tomorrow would be posted. They can see what we did when they go to make their bill, to pay their bill. So they can pull up whatever meeting that they wanted and it's gonna be listed on that portal. So it's gonna save us about $800 a month, which is, I mean, it's little tiny pennies compared to, but it's money. So, I think that my biggest concern is people are set up on Express Bill Pay right now, and it's gonna take them to have to change over from Express to Cassell. And so they have assured us that they'll help us with this. They have a QR code, and they're gonna post this everywhere, so all you have to do is take your phone with it, take you right there, and they'll have you set up as your, you know, with, logged on with your QR code. So in your packets, there is all of these questions that people are asking, and they have answers to. It not only does the, you know, your regular online bill payment, but it also does things like business licensing. We're trying to get away from all of the paper, so we would now just do all of the business licensing on this real-time portal. That'll be done. You can even pay your permits. Right now, we'll have to do it as a guest service, but it's doable, and we're paying for 1 service instead of 2. So that's my spiel on that one, and I think for the trouble that we're having right now with Express Bill Pay, just in my department alone, they've sold out. We used to have kind of a one-on-one with them, and it doesn't exist anymore because they've sold out and gone to bigger and better things. So it takes, well, I put a request in on January 20th. I'm still waiting. So, you know, that's kind of how it's going with Express right now. So I've got kind of fed up. That's why I went down and we've done this. And like I said, it will save us the $800 a month. And I think it'll be a good thing once people get switched.
I think it will help create a little more transparency. It's the same accounting system we're using, so when we start to drive reports that the citizens can get in, they'll be able to see things a lot more real time than they have in the
Correct.
past. So we'll just probably have to work through the issues of how do we get people signed up and get them through changing. I mean, I'm gonna have to change from bill pay, and so I get to sit down and think, I mean, it's been years.
But it's so easy. The QR code takes you right there. And it's, you know, it's a step-by-step process. They're gonna provide flyers, they're gonna provide, and the cool thing is, they're gonna come up, they'll take a pertinent picture of Tremont, and actually, when you get on, it looks like, you know, this is my hometown, and this is what they're gonna provide for us. And then it does list a number of different portals that you can go to, which I think, you know, if you're wanting to be transparent, and it says right there, city council meeting, yada, 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 you can click onto it instead of somebody getting on and saying, well, now I've got to go to the Tremont website to find the city council or whatever. It's right there, and if you're paying your bill and you want to read it, it's probably more likely that they're gonna just hop on right there when they're paying their bill than if they have to log on to the website, Tremont's website and/or Facebook and try and find. So it's just an easy way to say, hey, stay connected while you pay your bill.
Will we be able, oh,
With the other one, we can, we don't need to do anything to cancel.
I've already made sure that there will be no, penalties. So we have to give them 30 days. And it's going to take Cassell probably 6 weeks in order to build all of our forms. Because right now, we've got quite a few forms with the city, all of the donation sites, with things like that. So they're going to have to build all those forms. So it'll take about 6 weeks.
And as a citizen, if I have bill pay, I don't need to worry about it, right?
They wouldn't need to do anything.
So do you know when this is going to roll out, when it's going to start?
Well, I talked to Curtis, and he really, really wanted it up online and moving by May. So I says, we got on, council meeting as quick as we could. I've got, the proposal right here, ready to sign and ready to do. If you guys are okay with it, I'll send it over to Mark tomorrow, and we'll get rolling on it. But as far as I'm concerned, one less, third party is better than.
Yeah.
will we be able to do like compost, like pay for compost?
So you can pay as guest. Go in, you do whatever you want to do. Like, right now, they would have to call us and say, I need a compost pile or whatever, however much you want it. Then we would have to email them the receipt, and then they would take the receipt down to the waste.
this way we'd be
green
able to
waste.
just do it
So
as a
they would
guest
go
and-
on, pay in as a guest, print themselves a receipt out, and as long as they're in, they can pull themselves up in Tremont and City, then they take it out and go to it, so.
I like compost.
Well, and I
It's-
talked to Michelle about this, 2 weeks ago? Work smarter, not harder. I think this is gonna make it to where they're working a lot smarter and not quite so hard. We own a business, and we do our business license online. We don't have to go in and sign it. I don't have to drive to the town that it's in. I just pay all my fees online, and it's easy, and obviously we can do that
Well, and see,
now.
we're already in Cassell with our business license. We just don't have a way for, we want to bill them, and we want to bill them correctly and put it out there online, so if they wanted to, yeah, we would, would love to see them, but if we don't have to, that's their decision.
Yeah.
And they can at least, and then we can also just do a hand stamp, and it can be signed, and no more printing their licenses out. They can just print it on their own. So it'd save us paper as well.
It's gonna save you a lot of time too, so I think it's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle.
So the next one is about the same thing. Our phone lines, the IT is horrible, horrible, horrible. They're out of California. When Mark and I did it through Protelesys, it was, it was a great thing, but of course, you get through that infancy stage and that honeymoon stage, it moves over to divorce stage, and that's probably where we are right now.
Past that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, we just needed to change the police recording
Yeah.
for the dispatch. Cost us $150 to change the voice recording. And so I says, there's gotta be something different. So Les Olson, bless them, they will now do all of our IT for the phones. It's gonna save us $250 a month. And so, which is a no-brainer for us here, because if, there's so many of us moving all the time, phone, desk, whatever, all we have to do is call them up, just like we do at the computer, and say, hey, we don't have time to figure this out on our own, switch it for us, and it's covered. So that makes us happy, So that's my 2 spills. Think about it and let me know. Thank you.
It doesn't work right now.
City Manager Nesson, it's your turn.
Is this our compensation plan again? So we just brought this to you last meeting. We're bringing it again. I should have done this all in one swoop, but I didn't think about it last time. So this is just adding, so these 3 positions, vibrating over here, that we talked to you about last time. So with our community development director leaving us, we have planned to replace that position with a full-time planner 2 is what we're calling it. And then a part-time zoning administrator. And then also hiring a full-time finance director. And then you can see we'll get rid of the community development director position. And then the assistant city manager position will be the finance director now, basically. So that's all that's changing here is adding those positions that we're currently advertising for, getting applications for, figuring out where they fit in our plan here. And then, yeah, removing those 2 positions that we won't be filling at this point. We could always come back and add them later if we wanted to, but.
And just on note, we've had a lot of applications for the finance director and for the planner too,
Oh,
so
good.
some really good applications.
Good.
That's all it
Any
is.
questions?
Looks good, thanks, Lindsay.
We figure this would be anywhere from about 40,000 to 60,000 less than what we were paying last year, so it's a little bit of a savings for us. So between Michelle's $12,000, we're getting there. We might be able to get us a police officer or a fireman. Okay, my turn. No, actually, we're gonna turn the time over to Jed and Norm. They're gonna talk to us about the CAC, something I've been excited about for a long time, so.
Do we have the newer version? Because this is the old draft.
Oh, I forgot to send it to her.
I could tell from the title page, because I initially put the apostrophe as in the advisory committee belongs to the citizens, which is true. But then I took it out because it's an advisory committee composed of citizens, so.
Let me see if I can, while you're getting set up talking, I'll see if I can find it and send it to her, okay?
Okay.
Oh, do you know what? It's on, you don't have this agenda, do you? The one we're doing? Okay. Yeah, I just assumed that. Anyway, if you want to get started, I'll find it and I'll get it sent to her.
Okay. So the Citizens Advisory Committee is, the intent is to create a forum where all of the local citizens can come. They can provide ideas, they can talk about things that they have, but we can have a little more time and we can have a two-way communication. In our city council meetings, there's the 3 minutes you talk, but it's typically, a one-way thing. And what we're looking for is somewhere we can have more time, where we can talk more about things, where we can make sure that people are able to talk, but it's also to be able to flow information back out to people as well. And to be able to start fostering more transparency, accountability, and making sure that as we have these discussions back and forth, that what they're saying is coming in, it's being evaluated, we're determining, courses of action. And then we're able to bring things that come through that to the city council as proposals, and we'll provide a recommendation, but as part of that, we'll also talk about what people said for and against something. So the first part of this was kind of talking about the vision and the mission, which was some of the things I've already discussed. How we would work together. There would be that two-way dialogue. But also, as we were working through things, we would be using data to try to actually inform decisions. So instead of making emotional responses, if somebody came in and would talk about something, we would go out and evaluate. We would try to determine what we had for those various items, and then be able to have that before we came to the city council. Hey, there we go. The next slide is the one that I was mostly covering there, the vision and mission. So some of the things, though, about a committee like this, right, is you want to make sure that you aren't getting too far out of where you're supposed to be. So the next slide, if you could, please. So some of the key things is we'll only work within the scope that's defined by the committee charter. And that's something that we will work on and define, because there's some things that we should not be involved with, we shouldn't be discussing, we shouldn't be worried about. So those are the type of things we want to make sure that we're staying within what we have. Making sure that, we're treating everyone with respect, accountability, transparency, so that the actions that we have, decisions that we make, they're documented, they're available to people. And we're working with members of the government and also with the local residents on what we have, and providing them structured ways that they can provide input and that we can provide information out. And as I mentioned, we would provide a complete recommendation to the city council. You would hear what people had to say for something and also what they had to say against. So you wouldn't see a biased presentation saying, hey, you should do this, and acting like we've ignored all the other input we've got. And we also want to regularly have events with people, and then be able to facilitate residents who want to help out with things and may not know how to do it. And then if there's things that come up, and if the council wants to know what people are thinking, you can come to the committee and say, we want to know what citizens are thinking about this. And we would go out and do that legwork for you. So the next slide, it's a little higher level diagram, and you probably can't see it too well, but the main thing is the yellow and orange circles are the vision and the mission statements. That's the core of what this committee is. And so we would form a board that would, the key purpose of this board was to make sure that everything that the committee does, thank you, it conforms to the letter and the spirit of what the committee is supposed to do. And then those blue circles, those are areas that the committee would be working on. And I'll talk about those in a little more detail starting on the next slide. But we would form neighborhood, that's Christine's group. So each of those, and I'll talk a little bit more about NPI and how it fits into all this. So, but each of those subcommittees, so you would have a member of the board who would help them, but we would also, where we could, find a team lead who could focus more on that. And then we would allow people, as they wanted to, they could volunteer for the committees, they could volunteer for a particular event, but whatever we could do to try to help facilitate people in helping out. And the NPI there, and so that's Christine's organization, the Neighborhood Partnership Initiative, right? Did I get it right? Yep. Okay, sweet. Oh, hey. So that one right now is standalone. It's going to stay standalone. And then at some point in the future, when we're ready, we'll merge a little bit more. Now, we're already talking a little bit and we're working together, but we haven't formalized it yet as we would with the committee. So the next slide talks about a little bit about those blue circles. So reports and recommendations, that was one of the items, right? So one of the things is, as I mentioned, we would want to provide reports and recommendations to the city. And also, data we've collected, and make sure that we aren't leaving anything out. You would be getting everything in a structured format, but it wouldn't be edited. For the public forums, we would have meetings where people could come in. They could discuss items that they want. They could propose agenda items. We can talk about those things. We let people know we're talking about items, and it's whether it's something the citizens have come up with, they've seen as an issue, something the city council's asked us to actually get input on, or anything else that might come up. One of the other areas is civic outreach. So to be able to have ways that we can improve methods that we have for citizens to be able to work with the city, whether it's with the senior center, the food bank, our assistance, programs that we have. Find ways that if people want to help and they may not know how, we can actually help them make that connection. The next would be citywide events. So things that we have like Heydays, Farmers Market, or whatever, same type of thing. What we can do to help support the people who take care of that, and have people who can get volunteers if they need help for that. The next slide talks about financial transparency. So being able to have all the information that's out there, and so be able to put that in a format and structure that's more for public consumption. So there's some items that you can look at, and you may not have, everyone may not understand what all the terminology is. So that's where we want to help actually make that so that they would have something that they can see on what's happening on all the things we have going on. But in addition to that, if there's something going on in the city, and you say, hey, can we get some help on maybe on a rough estimate for something to see if it's even feasible, if you even want to move forward with it, that would be something we want to do. Now, in that one in particular, we'd be looking for people who have a little more of a financial background. So you'd have somebody who might have a financial degree, they might have something else, so that we could actually help a little bit more than, just taking a rough guess at what something is. People who might have a little more background in that area. I think I got it wrong with NPI, Neighborhood Partnership Initiative. So that's the one, as I mentioned, with Christine, that she's working. So what we want to do is when we get into the future, the CAC's more mature, we want to have a tighter integration between the two. So with the MPI, that they've already reached out, they've already started to have groups in the neighborhoods, they have people all over the city. Well, they are going to be able to get a lot of great information, and we're looking to use that both ways, to be able to collect information and also to be able to get information out. We can post things online. Social media is great. Not everyone going to be able to get it. Some of the items that may not work as well. And so between the two of having the work that they're doing and the work that we're looking to do, we think that'll be a great partnership. But given that the MPI was already formed, it's already up and running, they're already going places, we're just going to let them keep going until we're ready to actually merge the two. Data collection. So that would be surveys, other things that might be needed, whatever the type of things that you're looking for, that's the type of thing we'd want to help with. And this last item are tiger teams. So that would be if there is a particular issue. So we wouldn't have a standing group or a standing committee. If there is a particular item that the city council's like, look, we need to have some input on this, that's something we're considering, a proposal, whatever, you can come and ask us, hey, can you have some people who would go out and collect information on that? And that's what we'd do. We'd form those, have them go for a short period and dissolve them. So next slide talks a little bit about the board structure. So what we want to have is to have this represent the city. And so for the structure, it would have one chair, and then it would have 6 other members, and each member would represent one of our voting precincts. And so that's how we would form the board, but that would just be the core part. And as I mentioned, and I'll talk a little bit more, there's a lot more people that can be part of this than just the board members. Now, for the board members, though, since this is a key part of what we have, we're going to have this as an application process. So is there a concern? Is there a concern? If I have a question, I'd love to answer.
Finish your thought and let me.
Okay. So the appointment process would be, we'll advertise applications, and people can apply for different ways. And then we'll go through and talk to people, and then we'll make recommendations on who we think should be on the board. But that's something the city council would formally approve before we did anything else. For how long people would serve, once we have a full board, we're thinking 3-year terms for people, and the end of terms would be staggered. But given that we're standing up, we're going to take a little while for us to get to that location. And then we'd have a member from the city council be our liaison with the group, and that person would be an advisor and a resource, but they would not be a voting member. They would just help support some of the other work that we're doing. So how can people be involved? As I've mentioned, you can apply to serve on the committee board. You can sign up to be on one of those focus areas or one of the team leads. You can just say, I just want to help out on hay days, and that's fine too. And really all that we would do is that people can come and say whatever they'd like to do, and if it's not something we're handling, we just put them in connection with whomever they would need to have for any particular item. And so we're looking for people to have, again, a structure and an avenue to get to whatever they need to help volunteer and work with the city or get their ideas in. They can bring those ideas to the public forums, they can submit forms, they can, we're hoping to have something we can do later that's online, or other ways that they can provide that feedback. And so, yes, sir.
Question.
Yeah.
Given the structure being that, applications and terms and authorized by the council, is this something where the meetings of this group would fall under the Open Meetings
Correct.
Act, and so it would have all of that?
Yeah, and that's where I've been working on the charter for this, and given just all of that, it's not something you throw together in a weekend, just to make sure it's checking all the boxes. So that's been the harder part. This presentation's easy, right? I can just throw this together, but actually having a charter that's gonna be, this is what we're gonna have to live to and everything else, and what we're gonna sign up and bring, for the final approval, that's the one that's taking a little more work. And that's the one that will have all of these items that, yea, verily, we shall live by all of these. Any meeting that we have, with more than 3 people shall be open, and all of those items that we have there, how we're gonna run things, and so forth and so on.
So given that, is that going to be an obstacle for you to get? I mean, because one of the things that Open Meeting Act does, it makes it hard for us to interact with each other on a group, to where it's like this meeting and the next meeting, short of a town hall, is the only time that we can really collaborate on doing anything, right? And so
Right.
I see the benefit of this, don't get me wrong on that, but I look at the structure of like NPI, where it's not, it seems like you can get better,
No,
do you see where I'm?
I absolutely, and I've already thought about that. So the executive committee would be the ones that would be bound by that, because they're the ones who would have that. But each of these smaller groups, they can meet and work, and then
Okay.
they would come with us. So that gives them the freedom to do exactly what you're talking about. They can meet regularly, quickly, and do what they need for those. But then when we come to a higher level on how we're going to talk about and have the board members advise them and everything else, those are the ones that we would have formalized.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's why we had NPI outside this,
yeah,
because they can meet and do whatever they want, whenever they want, and not have any of that problem
gotcha.
to deal with.
I like that. Okay,
And if I may, I think the other thing that's strong about this is this also forces that same issue. So we don't get a bunch of people collaborating on an opinion, then coming and giving that opinion. They can't talk, they have to debate together in the right format. And that's what I appreciate,
Yeah. Okay,
is that candor, if you will, in a meeting.
okay,
Yeah, they can do the sausage making in the small groups, but then before anything would come here, right? That would have to come before the board. And so that's where we would talk about it, and we would, go through everything, can get more input and everything. So, let's say that one of the teams, so let's say the community involvement one, right? And they want to say, hey, we want to have a new event for the city, okay? You can go talk about it, come up with some concepts, and then when we have one of our open forums, now it's a public area, they can say, hey, by the way, it's on the agenda. We're going to talk about, we want to have this new event for the city. Then we would come, people can give their pros and cons, things that they want, things like that. And then if, we would bring that then to the city council and say, hey, by the way, we have this proposal, the board voted for it, and it was 4, people said yes, 3 said no. Here's the arguments for and against. We also came up with a rough idea of the cost. Here it is, do you want us to actually pursue it? Do you, so forth, and, all those items that you would have. So we would give you the information you would need to make an informed decision.
understood.
Yep.
Thank you.
And it's an advisory board to the city council. That's all. It just advises. So they don't make the decisions, they just come in and share their opinions.
I think it sounds great. I like what you're doing.
Thanks. And so the last one here are the next steps. So as we talked about, it's in the drafting phase, almost finalized, but there's still a little bit to do with the charter and the bylaws that would keep it going on. And then, but at the same time, since we're still trying to get the board members, we can work on that process of how we're going to actually recruit people and bring them in. And what I'd like to do is have one application. It goes to everyone and they can say, check a box. I would like to be considered for the board as a team lead. I would just like to volunteer for that, for whatever. They don't have to fill out 53 forms to do different things. What you would like to do. And then we can get that out. At the same time, we're working on the charter. An important thing is for those people who are participating, though, they're going to need some orientation and training on how to work with city government, city things, how to make sure that they don't, screw up, how we're abiding by all the things that we need to do, things like that. So that's one of the things we would need to do. Refine a little bit how we're going to engage with people. what tools we're going to have, methods, and so forth, and also communications, how we're going to do that. And then, so that you know when to plan things for us and people know when to, we'll have stuff. We'll set a regular cadence for reporting and meetings. And then, at this point, we're going to be a little ways down the road, so now we can decide what we're going to try to work on during the year. And probably the first few years, it's just going to be trying to figure out how we're actually going to do things in other years down the road. But that would be the next thing. And then how we're going to get feedback, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what people hate about it, what they love about it, what the city council hates about it, what you love about it. And then how we're going to start doing things on an annual basis, again, the valuations reporting, and then doing what we can to integrate with your cycles on what you need. Anyway, that's the end of the presentation. So thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Are you guys gonna need a budget of any?
Probably short of caffeine, probably no up front. As we get further into it, though, I would guess, though, that we would probably find out there might be some items. But right now, it would mostly just be volunteers, time, and ideas. I think once we get going a little bit and we start figuring out what we may need, and then with some of these things that we have, that we might start interacting a little more with groups in the city. There might be a little bit that we would need for that. But even in that case, I wouldn't expect it to be a lot. Just because this is mostly an avenue for communication and reporting. And that should be relatively cheap.
Well, and just so, just to put this out there, when that time comes, I am supportive of giving you the resources that you need. Even in a budget, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. And if you see that there are things that are gonna take some money to do, but if it benefits in the end, I mean, let's get you the resources to do it.
No, that'd be great. Thank you.
So tonight, kind of what they're here asking, and I'm asking, right?
Yeah.
Is, can they continue to move forward and get this charter ready? Are you guys okay with the direction they're headed?
Oh, yes, I think it's needed.
Okay.
It's been needed for a long time, so I applaud you two for running with this.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that, because I already reached out to Christine, and I had said, hey, can we take advantage of your network and try to get word out to people and let them know that, hey, we have something, we're looking for volunteers. And then it also, I guess it puts the onus on me that I got to create an application. But the other part is I want to create a process that we define up front, right? This should be wide open to people. You apply, you offer your time, your services, but there's going to be a certain way that we're going to go about determining who's going to be on this board. It shouldn't be, I go and pick all my friends, right? That doesn't help anyone. So I want to make sure that we have it clearly defined how we're going to go about this. But how do I say this in a nice way? As we're going to select the board, you guys will find out later who our nominees are. So I'm not going to look at the city council and say, help me pick who the nominees are.
Yeah.
That's going to be something we're going to do outside of the city council and then come forward. But if there's any concerns about whatever we have, that's fine. So we'll have, it might be, depending on the proposal, we can figure out the best route to do it. But again, we'll come with proposals and you guys will finalize and approve it. And then we'll just go through in a stepwise manner.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Appreciate these guys. They put in a lot of time on this.
Yeah, they've been working hard.
Mr. Seadoll, it is your turn.
So River Valley is kind of it's mixed residential, but it's over behind McDonald's, 450 West or 450 North, 2600 West part of town. Sean used to do development agreements by phase of a development, and so it was really interesting with this one where phases 8 through what are to be 13, we're supposed to all have these agreements, and so instead of following that pattern, this is kind of the development agreement to finalize the next, phases 10, 11, 12, and 13, and understand kind of the city's obligations that Sean had negotiated with Sierra Homes for the construction of BR Mountain Road. So instead of forcing even myself when I was working on this development agreement and now my successor to have to go development agreement diving for contracts with Sierra, I clustered it into one last one that they can reference for the next 4 phases. So that was really the point of the DA. There isn't a whole lot outside of that. We just ended up using the PUD code where it was going to be over more phases, so that we could kind of keep it in that box as well. So that's it.
Okay, so the city will pay to upsize the storm drains, as I read the contract, right?
Yes.
And Jeff didn't put this together, he's just dealing with what was put together, right?
I mean, that's a standard practice the city's had. So the River Valley will be the most downhill development for this whole watershed that goes up to 1,000 North. So we've worked to help upsize the pipes so that they're properly sized as they continue to build uphill from here, because it's designed that Stokes Park will handle all of the runoff generation from it north up to the hill quite a ways. So
Okay, another question I have is, it says in the contract that the city will pay for like 65% of the BR Mountain Road, and the developer will pay for the other portion. Do we know how much that's going to cost the city and what funds that's going to come out of?
yes, we have a cost estimate from when the project started that shows what those values are.
I looked at those.
And so roughly it's where we're at. I don't know by the time the development gets around to needing those phases, if those will adjust or not, but I was hoping to keep it generally at that ratio for, which is just something that Sierra and the city had negotiated back in, I think it was 2021.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Any other questions?
So you're voting tonight on if you're going to pass the development agreement on this subdivision.
Yeah.
And it says in there that, have we had a public hearing on this one? I'm asking you because I have no clue. It says in the contract, something about a public hearing.
I don't know if we have or not. I know the preliminary plat, I think the preliminary plat went to Planning Commission. The development agreement got hung up a little bit as we were going through the election cycles. And so, but I'll go back through and make sure it went through Planning Commission as well.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
I have a question, just general on PUDs.
Yeah.
That's not like an open check to just change it and add a bunch of, I mean, that's just my concern, you know what I mean? If somebody gets it in and then say you leave, somebody else comes in and all of a sudden we got,
No,
big apartments or something that it's all.
yeah, the PUD takes the property rights of the landowner and quantifies them in terms of what their density allowed would be. And so for with the R110 on the overlook, it'd be allowed about 4.3 units per acre. What it does is it allows the flexibility that they can use those to get to that density however they please. So if they want to do apartments, I mean, they could, they're just gonna run out of they're gonna have a lot of open space, going up to,
They can only do so much.
they can only do so much. And so what it gave is, instead of the overlay zones that we'd had in the past, it kind of gave all of the landowners the same sandbox to play out of. And it's up to the city staff and the planning commission to make sure that whatever sandcastle is created meets the planning documents. And so far, this is the only one that's made it this far in the PUD.
But you as the city council have the final say now on this PUD. So if you're okay with the density or you're okay with this PUD, then,
Yeah.
but if it's an issue, then send it back to the drawing board. So it's up to you.
I mean, it's zoned mixed use, so there really isn't a density around it. We just wanted to use the PUD code as to kind of give it some guidelines to design around. So I mean, even if they didn't use the PUD, it probably wouldn't come in much different. So,
I mean, mine was not generally that position, but everywhere that make sure that it wasn't a, you know, it's a way out, you know, a blank check.
no. No, PUDs are the only instrument really the state's given cities left to negotiate more for the city improvements and on their behalf. So it's the only way we can enforce any kind of architectural standards on single-family homes and really overall. So besides this, that's why we made it is it's hopefully a tool to help the city have a better say in development itself.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Cynthia.
We took this to the attorney. This is what the family proposed. This is our billboard out on I-84 that we discussed last time. It's very ragged, needs to be repaired, and so we followed through with the family, and they proposed that we increase their lease to $3,000 a year with a percentage increase every year, and we did agree on a 3% increase every year, so that's what we're bringing to you for your approval.
We've had a couple companies already ask to lease it,
Oh,
and so I think it
I
will,
wondered why, I mean, if we're not using it, why are we leasing it?
yeah, well, we could actually lease it for more than what we're paying for it and,
Oh,
you know,
so
potentially.
that's, okay.
Put a
Make
little bit
another-
of us on it and then
Yeah,
Subleaser.
Oh, okay, okay.
so,
We did drive by it the other day coming back from Idaho, and it needs love. I don't know any other word to say.
nice
It-
picture of the sky.
I have no,
We will be adding a map to this resolution, though.
any advertisement to get people to come to Tremont, no matter what it is, off the freeway, because if you don't know we're here, we're not here. So it needs love.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
All right. Chief Jarl.
Should I switch it? Okay, I'm here to ask you for approval of an interlocal agreement between Tremont City and Brigham City. In a nutshell, it's to ask for, we're basically gonna be helping each other out. We've done this in the past, it's nothing new. We'll be helping them and assisting them with both fire and EMS response, and they'll be doing the same for us. And so that would include transfers from the hospital, any call volume that we have, if we would need assistance, or if they would need assistance, so.
it wouldn't just be them though, right? You'd use somebody else if.
Yeah, it wouldn't just be them, that wouldn't be the only,
Agreement
yeah.
With them.
This is just an agreement with them, yep. It was just time to renew our agreement, so.
So has there been an agreement in place before now, or is this
Yes.
just a new thing?
Nope, it's pretty much the same thing that we've had in the past.
Okay.
Just saying that that we'll help them and they'll help us in kind. There's no financial obligation or anything like that. It's just saying from one city to the other, we agree to help one another with EMS or fire response if needed,
Okay.
if called upon, and if we have the resources to do
Chief,
so.
has there been any additions to this contract versus the other one?
No, not to my knowledge. I looked at the old one and this one, and they're almost identical. Yeah, just year
Almost.
changes.
They're-
Just the year changes is the
Okay.
only thing that,
So you're familiar with this, Blair? You've seen this before? Okay, this is the first time I had, so that's why I
It's
asked.
just a, like, I mean, he can tell you. but
We have one with Garland,
If
we
they
have
have-
one with all the cities
They
around us.
have like a busy, it snows there, nowhere else, and they're hammered. Tremont sends an ambulance down there to help cover Brigham, or I'll bring one here.
Okay.
And the other local ones, like Philly and all that, they can do stuff, but they usually don't have the resources to come here and sit where Brigham Tremont can do that.
And basically, one of the things that happens is that when the city, like on the police side, you know, when we talk about jurisdiction and things like that, you know, to go into somebody else's jurisdiction, what this does is it basically says, anytime we need you, you'll come, and anytime you need us, we'll come, and it's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just kind of a set invitation to
A formal
operate.
invitation?
Yeah, to operate in the jurisdiction.
See, that's
when
what
needed.
that's what I didn't understand. That's why I needed to know, because I didn't know we'd already had
Yes.
this, so, or I appreciate your comments on that and your.
With this, when we, like, let's say there's a structure fire that happens right now. Garland comes to help, we need more help. Dispatch automatically knows that Brigham would be, they just have like a stack, so to speak, of cards, right? You have a stack of cards, you pull the first one, it's us. The next one's Garland, the next one after that would be Karen, let's say. And then so on and so forth. And then when they get to Brigham, this is already set in stone. We've already agreed upon it, and they would send Brigham, would be one of the last ones that they would send.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm just basically looking for approval for later on tonight at council meeting, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was easy. Okay, next is Chris.
Hey, I missed getting the packet and this into the packet, so I apologize. I will have these for you in the packet next time. I'm just new to this, so I appreciate your patience with me. It's just a report on basically the findings that we've had. We've had a month of MPI meetings. We've met with every district, and I just wanted to come back and kind of tell you guys what we found. Won't be too long, but we've divided the city up into the 4 different districts. Hi. And then I just wanted to go by district and kind of tell you how each meeting went to keep you in the loop and keep you updated. And it will be fast, hopefully. The West District, we talked about, there were 12 people in attendance, and there we talked about the Valley Vista development. They are not wanting these are developments that are gonna be coming up in the future. They're not even hit the planning commission yet, but I'm just keeping you updated. But they will want a PUD overlay for that, which will, and with the PUDs, the thing I liked about the West District was we took the whole time almost, and we explained what a PUD was to the residents. And we had 12 people there, and it was a really good meeting where they got education and understood. They understood why a PUD can be a tool for the city and how it can help. But they also understood where the density bonuses came. There was some discussion on that, on how much they felt like maybe sometimes more density was more too much, like, because they can only do a certain amount, but they can add more density. They can add bonus density. So it can go from maybe 4 houses per acre to 8 or 10 or 12 houses per acre if they qualify for the bonuses. So there was a little bit of discussion on that. The residents with the Valley Vista subdivision coming up did not feel that the PUD was, it actually had too much density. It actually had to go back because they put too much density in for the open space that they provided. So we haven't received an updated concept plan from them. So I can report on that once we get an updated concept plan on them. The Central District, we'll go into Central District. There were 15 people there. And this was really cool. They talked about, there's a parcel of land. In these packets, I would like to get a picture of each of the developments that they're talking about. And I only have the one for the Iowa String because I'm still working on getting all that information to you guys. So I have the Iowa String development on there, but then when they come up, you kind of know what's going on. In the Central District, there's a parcel of land that is going to be able to go from 1000 North to Main Street, and part of it will be commercial and part of it will be apartments, and it's by the golf course, between the golf course and the freeway. And the citizens there, what I thought was interesting, the citizens at that meeting 100% voted that this could be an area that we could see multifamily housing here. But they disagreed on the type. Some thought that apartments were okay, some thought that they weren't. But the concerns that they had is there was only one inlet in for all of the proposed construction. And so that was a huge concern. And so they 100% voted, we took a vote and they voted, yes, we could see this would be a good place where, because it was in the urban core, it was at a place where they thought that the city could sustain it. But they also 100% voted, we don't think we're ready for it. We don't think that the city has infrastructure for it. And their two main concerns were the police and the schools. And actually, because of this discussion, it opened up more bridges for me to go and to pursue, because the proposition was brought up, well, what if we use a PUD and we were able to secure land for schools? And so that, I asked Jeff if we could do that, and he said, yes, that's something that we can do, so that as we're working out agreements with developers, we can get that land, and so that we can help, because they were worried about their kids, and they were worried about people being here, so there are really real concerns coming, but it was really fun to be with a group of people that were trying to solve a problem. So I've set up an appointment with someone from the school board, and I'm going to be talking to her, kind of keeping her in the loop, and trying to create a way where as we grow and we move forward, if we keep these connections and we can work together, then when a developer comes in, we know we need land and what happens is the schools, it's not our responsibility as a city to get land for schools, but we can get land for public uses, and if the schools don't use it, then we can use that for parks, or we can use it for something else that the city needs. And so that was a way that the citizens, I felt, had really positive impact, but they were very concerned about the high density and some of the safety issues and us being ready for that with all the other resources. Okay, so that was the Central District. And then I'm gonna go into, we're not gonna do the East District. We actually didn't have anybody at the East District come to that meeting, but the South District, we had 28 people. So we're having 15 to 20 to 30 people at these meetings, and it's been really successful. So the South District, that is the development that you have in the back here. That is what they have. This is to give you an idea. Oh, how much time do I have? Okay. This is what's going to be coming up for approval for the PUD overlay, and they were just concerned about the density. They felt it didn't fit the character out there, but their number one concern was the sewer. Even with the lift station, they were concerned that the sewer, I didn't have this in the report, but Dr. Gardner looked up a report and he brought it to the meeting, and he said that the sewer, according to 2023, the sewer was at almost near full capacity. And so even if we get a lift station, all of this housing is going to actually we're going to have to roll into a sewer system. So they wanted information. How are we going to pay for that? How is that moving forward? So they were worried about that. Then they were more concerned also with the overall vision of the area, because they really felt very strongly that we needed to get the general land use plan done, especially for that area that hasn't been annexed and the future growth in that area. Someone said for their vision, they thought, and I thought this was a brilliant idea, on I-80, as you go under Iowa String, you go under the freeway, the 84. They said, why not keep all of that south of there for now, single-family housing, because the roads aren't equipped for high traffic and all the police going out there. So they really felt like that would be a vision that they would support, is keeping south of their single-family housing so that it's safer for the residents and it's less work for the city to have to widen those roads as we are able to get more resources through business development and economic development, then maybe we could widen the roads. And so I put together also a survey for them on the density out there, and I'm still getting those results in, and they're supposed to have me back by the time we meet next month, because we still have a lot of things to go over with that. But that was really their concerns. Do you have any questions for me?
Been great, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
The meeting was fantastic that I went to. I appreciate what you're doing and
Well, it was
the
really sweet.
enthusiasm by the residents.
I know, and they're really coming and trying. Of course, it's an emotional thing, but they're really trying to create concerns. And the common thing that I'm seeing is people aren't necessarily against growth, but they're really feeling that it's going super fast. And so that's something that that they need reassurance. And when they're talking about drainage, you know, I can say the developers are putting in a drain line. But that's why you got that picture of the 90-year-old man texted me, and I said, I will tell the council that you're concerned about drainage down there. And because he texted me this picture right here, and he was like, what are they gonna do about that? And I said, you know what, they're putting in a drain line, and that he understood that too. But these are real things that they're really concerned about, especially with the sewer system, because they're the first ones to get hit if the sewer goes out. And so that's a huge concern for them. And they voted that they would rather have single-family housing than any multifamily housing out there. That was their overall consensus, and that's what it's been.
That water though, if they're out there in the county, their sewers don't work. So.
You mean
already-
the septic tanks or the sewers?
Septic
Yeah,
tanks.
yeah. So it's gonna be a discussion, you know, and so that's just the feedback that I've got from residents, and there'll be more coming. I did that survey. I think the hottest topic for you guys right now, probably based on everything that's going on, is going to be Iowa String. That is what is the vision out there. And the residents really do want a vision, not just of the whole area. And that was very, very prominent in the meeting, that they're like, what is our long-term vision of this area? And that would be something that they would really support. They actually brought up that they would rather have a moratorium. And I didn't bring that up. They brought that up on building out there because they're so unsettled on what is the vision out here. And so, and that, because it's not in the land use plan. Like the land use plan, it doesn't have the vision because we've zoned it differently than what this land use plan says, so. Okay, so that's, and I didn't, it's, a moratorium was just brought up. It's not something that I haven't pushed forward or looked into, but that's just kind of how passionate that they were, like, we just need a vision of what's out here, so.
The two concepts, just two different ones, or what's?
There's one of them is by the cement road, and then, so they kind of go like this. So as you're going down Iowa String, you've got the cement factory right there. That one's the one, not that one, but the other one. That one's gonna go right there along that cement road, and then kind of kitty corner, they're like this. They sit like this. This one's on Iowa String, this one's over on the cement factory road, right here. And so that's, and that cement factory road, the one with the higher density is by the cement factory road. And people were worried about the kids from those new houses going over to the cement factory and, playing in the sand pits, playing in all those different things, you know, they're just worried about the safety of that road right there with all of the cement things. And there were some ideas, there are some ideas to improve that in the future, though. There are we discussed a few different things that could help with that situation there, so, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate what you're doing.
And just to go along with something that Chris is saying, so you guys know, we're waiting on a grant from the state to
Oh, yeah.
the general plan.
Yep.
And we can't start the general plan until we have the grant in hand.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that's March, April,
Yeah.
that we get that grant, and then we can start on that general plan.
So as I'm going forward with this, and please give me feedback on what's helpful and what's not helpful. These are things that are coming up that you guys will have to approve on a legislative level. There are some administrative things, but these are more legislative things. So when you do a new PUD, a brand new one, then that's a legislative thing. And as a city council, that is something that you guys are able to do based on the climate of the city. And there's really no way that in court of law or anything that that's legislative is what you guys feel is right for the city. Administrative is a little bit different. Administrative, and if you get a second PUD, and Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was reading the code. If you have a PUD and then you have like another PUD in it, then that's an administrative decision, and that's a little bit different than a legislative decision. And so what I'm trying to bring forward to you are legislative decisions where the citizens have input on them. And so I will try to get you the plans ahead of time. Like I said, I don't have all the plans for you, but I'll probably once a month I'll come and I'll just let you know what the citizens are thinking about these at these meetings, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. Okay?
Well, I can
Thank you.
tell you on a couple of phone calls that I got, one of the, and I admittedly, the PUDs and overlays and stuff like that, I'm still trying to catch up on like what that is. But one of the concerns, and I share the concern, is that when the council makes a decision on development, is the intent of the council being met? And that's what I don't understand. And granted, I'm hearing one side of it. And so I'm trying to understand it better. But if the council has an understanding that a development is going to be for quarter acre lots or third acre lots, and that the intent is that there's, single family homes on those lots, and then come to find out there's some mechanism or loophole that says, well, yeah, technically that, but if they build a park, then they can put, apartments in there. And that's what I don't understand. But I do know that for me, I want to see a little bit more transparency on that from out of the development side. Is that if you have an intent on putting apartments there, tell us that you intend on putting apartments there.
It's kind of, I understand. The difficulty on it is you have your base zoning, you have your single-family R18 zoning, which this is zoned. Okay, so if you look at this, currently, the current zoning for this is, if you look on these pink ones, these pink lots right here, those are your 8,000 square foot lots, okay? Those are your 8,000 square foot lots. R118 allows for this whole property to develop with lots no smaller than this pink one, okay? No smaller. That is what is currently zoned, okay? What the developer is wanting to do now is to put the PUD overlay and use the density bonuses with the PUD. And they want the approval of this because they have the parks and the open spaces, and then they have density bonuses. This is what is the proposal that they can add to it. So it's a separate decision. So when you ask a developer to give you the information, what they intend to, they have to go through step 1 first, and then they have to go through step 2. So the developer, they have to go through the single family. So if this council's like, we just want single family houses, then you approve the R18, and then that's black and white. They have that. But what's happening now is the developer wants to come in and put the PUD overlay with it, and so that overlay will allow all of this density because of, and that's how our code is written. Our code is written, they put it in, and we had a whole hour discussion on PUDs one night. And I think that they should be a tool for the city to use, but I think that they need to be understood because they can also be a tool for developers to use too.
I definitely need to understand it better.
So this is what's being proposed, but it's not what's been approved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So according to my understanding, and that's how it works. So you got to get the base density, you got to get the R116 or not one, we don't have 16, R112, R18, whatever it is, and then the developer can apply for a PUD overlay.
And that's also a vote that we would do on the overlay.
Yeah,
So we
this
could
is-
approve the first,
Not on the PUD, if you will, on the development
On the
agreement.
density and the
Yeah,
development.
when the development agreement comes back, then you'll vote on that.
Well, when I read the code, it says PUD and development. I think it is still the PUD. They're about the same. So the PUD and development agreement.
We
So
already voted for both them to be R18
yes,
We did, and
since I've been here.
yes, but that was the heartache at the meeting the other
And
night.
we heard all
Yeah,
that about
yep.
that. But
and so the R18 was the. What the residents are really concerned about is when that was approved, it was under the understanding that they thought that they would be quarter acre lots and maybe one row of townhouses. That was what they went away from the feeling. Whether that's what the intent was or not, I don't know, but that was what they went away feeling. But legally, when they apply for this PUD, this is what they can do legally for the development.
But we have to approve.
But you have to prove that
And
first.
that's why I asked Jeff about
Yeah.
the PUD, that it's not a blank check that they come in and then say, oh,
No.
you said we could have PUD, so no, we have to approve it.
And I actually support having PUDs as a tool for the city, because I think that will be something, but they have to be understood. And that's why I'm trying to get this information out so people understand what is going on, because I do think that the PUDs are a good tool for the city, especially when we want to acquire parks and land for other areas. But it should be used for the city and for the city's good. It shouldn't be used just like up on Valley Vistas. They want to have a PUD overlay, but the citizens we don't have a park, you're not doing trails, you're not doing any major utility upgrades. Why do we want the added density? They don't see the value of it just because they can be done. The residents are like, but why should it be done? So those are discussions I have to have. And I took too much time. I'm really sorry.
That's good.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Okay.
Chief. Thanks, Christine.
All right, will you pull up one of those PowerPoints? I've sent her like 15. So. Yeah, I hope this is the right one, but who knows? So we talked about this before. I just kind of wanted to go over some graphs and things to better illustrate the benefits of this partnership. If you want to jump to the next one. And I'll be pretty quick. So this is the problem we're facing as a community right now on the law enforcement side is our staffing per residence. We're actually pretty low compared to other comparables, and we'll show that. We're kind of in the red zone right now. You can go ahead and jump forward. So this is our problem we're going to try to solve together. We have a deficit of about 5 officers staffing. It impacts officer safety response and investigations. So I'm open to suggestions on this, public or otherwise, council generate ideas and solutions to address this gap. I understand, we don't want to necessarily raise taxes. It may be inevitable at some point, but this is one of those creative solutions that could help us navigate that issue without necessarily requiring taxes right now. But inevitably, we are going to have to add more officers to the pot. So the guiding principles is we want to improve officer and public safety, maintain acceptable response, be fiscally responsible, of course, be legally compliant, and be sustainable. This is kind of the chart. So this can be a little confusing. Tremont, anything above that green line is not good. The higher up, the worse we are. A couple comparables, I put Brigham only as an example, not because they're part of this agreement, but they are right where they need to be by their population. And I think they're kind of following that standard and meeting that standard. Perry's in good shape, Garland's in good shape. We are starting to slip. And that's my goal, is to address that issue without necessarily raising taxes. Go to the next one, please. This is kind of where we're at, another visual. Our populations, give or take, and our ratio per citizens, again, we're pretty high up there. This combination, one thing we weren't really clear on is how this is going to help Tremonton. This is basically equal to us hiring 2 officers. And it's actually better than that. I'll show you on another slide here, but right out the gate, it does drop us down pretty substantially. We'd have to hire 2 people to meet that without this partnership. Next slide, please. It's another way to look at it. So our before and after, if we had this relationship. So the before is the bottom bar, after is the other one. As you can see, it actually helps our staffing in every single way. Administratively, civilian staffing, detectives, and of course, patrol. This is a visual for you. So this is a patrol shift right now. We basically will have 1 sergeant on a good night. If nobody has training, nobody's sick, nobody's injured. We have 1 sergeant, 2 officers on. If we have this relationship, this is what it would look like for both cities. Yeah, we're policing another area, but we'd have 2 officers on, a sergeant, usually in both areas. So 5 to 6 on per night compared to 2 or 3. So on a bad night, we may be at 5, maybe even 4. Our minimum staffing, we like to have at least 2, but it would greatly improve our capacity on patrol. Admin investigation, this is kind of how we're looking right now. As you can see, we got the chief, lieutenant, admin secretaries, and 2 detectives right now. Afterwards, we would have 6 administration, and we'd actually have a supervisor for our detective unit, which would be great. 3 detectives and a lot more capacity to handle investigations and evidence, all the administrative work, as well as good supervision over investigations. Why is it happening? I think we talked about that tonight. It was actually cool to hear, the efforts and what the community was saying, but we are competing with wages. That's just the reality throughout the state. Population growth, we are growing our city footprint. I totally understand why. We're getting more investigations. We're getting cases that we really haven't had to deal with before, newer types of crimes, more challenging crimes, unfortunately. Staffing growth hasn't matched the need, and that's why we're starting to slip backwards. What happens if we don't take action or change anything? It reduces patrol resilience. What that means is if you have someone out who's sick or injured, it's inevitable. It always happens. It makes it hurt a lot more. Or if you have somebody leave for a higher paying city or something, we feel that. And sometimes it can be paralyzing and we have to do like mandatory overtime or overtime. We haven't had to do that recently, knock on wood, but other cities experience that pretty consistently. We have a pretty good sized caseload right now. What was that at, Brent?
We were at 12,
It was like 12, 12, and 24 or something?
12 and 24, and they're all felony investigations.
Yeah, so, and what that means, all felony, serious crimes, but they also take more investigative time to work. A case can take up to a year sometimes. Officer safety, of course, and service reduction. This is the last resort, and I'm hoping we never have to go there, but we would have to look at, as the city grows and there's more demand, and if we stay stagnant with our staffing levels, we have to find ways to manipulate within, and we start to lose services, whether that's investigations, an SRO, something like that. Not a good situation to be in. Here's kind of the hiring cost. I may have underestimated this, but it's 125 to 150,000 annually. We need 600 to 750,000 year-over-year costs. If we did that route, I'd recommend doing it slowly over multiple years, obviously, so it's not a shock. And then the permanent status of that is ongoing. As we continue to grow, we're going to continue to need those resources. Costs can't really be undone once we go down that path. Yeah, go ahead.
125,000, is that officer salaries?
Yes, that, exactly.
Vehicles and all that?
Yeah, and the mayor's hitting the nail on the head with that. That's not counting our vehicles, our equipment, Spillman, dispatch, everything goes up. It's probably closer to upwards of 200,000 once you're all in, if not more. 1-year partnership, so it could be temporary. It's fully reversible, doesn't really require tax increase right now. I don't want to mislead the council and say we'll never have to raise taxes or we'll never have to look at hiring more police. That's just not true. As we grow as a city, we're going to need more resources. Same could be said for every other department. But it does get us through this year, and it gives us immediate staffing relief. What that means is to train an officer, it takes, they got to go to police academy, FTO, and then they're out on their own. It could take a year to get them through the first 2 phases, and then for them to really know what they're doing, probably a whole nother year. So Perry has a lot of experience, really good officers that are ready to go now, which is great. What they contribute, no cost to Tremont, 5 officers, 1 detective, 2 sergeants, 1 captain, that would be our chief here, and 1 civilian staff member full-time. Again, no tax increase for that. All positions, equipment, infrastructure, they also have a building down there, are fully funded by Perry.
But of that, they're given 5 officers, but some of them have to stay there, so they don't.
Correct. So it would be 6 officers on a patrol shift. Hypothetically, we'd have 4 out here in Tremont and Garland instead of the 2 to 3, and then they would have 2 on at all times. I understand there's times where if they got a guy sick or on leave, sometimes they only have 1 on. So it's really mutually beneficial to both cities. Essentially, it doubles the patrol capacity for both cities, which is good.
Mine is, it's gotta be beneficial for Tremont, no fair.
I don't blame you.
Guys, but
Yeah.
if it doesn't benefit us, then it doesn't sound good to me.
Yeah, and I wouldn't
I'm
do.
having a hard time with it. So.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do anything that doesn't benefit our city. Again, on a good night, there are shifts where we only have 2 people. We have a person on FTO right now. That's 2 officers on. With this relationship, 4 officers on. And it gives us more wear and tear if somebody's down. I would speculate to say, but we would see over time if we trial this thing. I would wager we would never drop below minimum staffing. I can't say that's true today.
That's 4,
Minimum staffing is 2 on at all times, but
2 at each city, is that what you're saying?
yeah. I'm sure their minimum staffing's probably 1. We're 2. So with this, they would have 2 and we'd have 4. It would double our capacity, which would be great.
I have a really hard time seeing where you say we're down 5 officers.
Sure.
Are you down any officers in Perry? Okay, so you're fully staffed. I went back through a lot of the minutes. In April of 2025, you said you were fully staffed.
Sure.
I don't see how this is going to help bridge that gap. And I'm listening to what the residents are saying also and their concerns with all of this. Go ahead, I have a lot more, but keep going.
Yeah, and to answer your question, when I say we're 5 down, I don't mean we have 5 empty positions. We're missing 5 positions from our growth, where we should be today. And I'm happy to go back to that slide showing the comparables, going from 2 to 3 on to 5 to 6 on every night is huge. It's groundbreaking for us. Again, it doubles our capacity on a day-to-day. This is, again, I want to under-promise and over-deliver, but this is the financial value. If we put dollar signs to these, this doesn't include the equipment. Right out the gate, 2 officer value, that's $300,000 year over year. Increased detective, $140,000. Increased command, $200,000. Future admin costs, and what this is Perry's really reasonable to work with. They're actually willing to split some costs on administration costs and things like that to help de-burden the city if this works out. So $680,000 year over year value, I would actually say it's much higher than that. Once you add equipment, it's probably a $1 million plus. Next slide, please. Why it helps us, this is kind of an example of our earn, or I guess our earn versus burn on resources, call volume, workload comparison. Now, Garland, as you can see, uses very few police resources. They have a lower call volume. Tremont by far is the biggest. Perry, which is cool about Perry, is that green area is kind of their year-over-year call. So you call 911, that's how many times that's happening. All the rest is that proactive, getting after it, finding crime, addressing crime. I didn't have time to break those down for each city, but it just gives you a visual concept that they really don't require as much call volume as the other cities. How it benefits Perry, regional SWAT capability. They would have access to the SWAT team, K-9 access, staffing stability. Like I said, it will double their staffing as well. It increases officer safety, and they have the ability to handle a major incident. We've been through some stuff out here that it's unprecedented, but we've been able to handle those things, which is great. But again, that's happening more. We are utilizing the SWAT team more than when I first started, and the trend suggests we're going to continue to have those things. So this is a smart move by Perry because they're getting in a position where they can have comfort knowing they can handle a major incident. And I just sum it up. They get big city policing capabilities without the costs. Now, this was a geographic distance concern and a lot of misunderstanding. Basically, the fire just talked about it. It's called mutual aid, right? We have agreements with other cities. Right now, anywhere in Box Elder County, sometimes out of Box Elder County, if they need help, we will send help. If we have the ability to do that, if we can say we have 3 on, or, well, we wouldn't have more than 3 usually, we'll send somebody down to help. Every city does that. We have like a gentleman's agreement in law enforcement, nothing official, but everybody helps everybody. We saw it during our shooting incident. We had people all the way from Ogden and further down. That's just how law enforcement works. So it's not something that's not already in existence. The other thing is if people are working in Perry, they're going to be assigned to Perry. They're not going to be driving back and forth between the cities unless it hits that threshold of a mutual aid type of deal. So there's a visual a lot of citizens have, and even some of the cops had. We did a survey with them. I'll show you that in a second. It's not that. We're not running back and forth between cities. We're staffing it properly. If they have an incident, they can handle it with their staff. Just like if we have one down here, the people assigned here will handle that. Gas vehicle cost, I estimated that. I just looked at some numbers and threw it together with the additional commute, $4,000 annually. I would argue that it's probably offset because the fact is cops drive all night around the communities. Bigger the community, the more they drive. Perry's relatively small in comparison, so it'll probably be a wash. Why not Brigham? This came up a couple times. Perry's selective, and this is a great opportunity for the chief to answer any specific questions and speak on behalf of his city. But what I would say is and I know Bo would agree with this, is if a business brought us 680,000 to $1 million in value, would we refer them to Brigham? I don't think so. And that's kind of what we're looking to do. If we're looking to do that as a city for police services and it brings that kind of value and it doubles patrol capacity, I wouldn't suggest we refer them to another city. I think that's a missed opportunity, but that's just my opinion. Ultimately, that's up to the council. And if you guys have questions for Chief Hancy, I mean, we're not through everything yet, but he could probably explain where his council stands on Perry. Or
Slide it showed how it did Perry, but what, do you have a slide for what it does for Tremont?
yeah, what do
The
you,
money,
yeah, the money is 680,000 to us in value. And that's a low estimate. I suggest, it's probably closer to a 1 million plus year-over-year value to Tremont with the number of resources we have. We go back to the staffing one again. It's like slide number 3 or 4. Yeah, so like if you look at these boxes, this is just investigations. On the bottom, I mean, it greatly enhances our admin and our detective unit, which is huge. We have a huge caseload. They're falling behind. Perry's been nice enough to step in and help us when we got really far behind. And that's super important for our citizens. You know, if you have something violent or terrible happen to you or your kids, you want to know that that's being prioritized and taken care of. If you only have 2 detectives working 40-plus cases, stuff will wait, and that's not fair. So when we fall behind, sometimes we'll ask for help, but that's also not sustainable. We need that help now. The other thing is administrative staffing. As you can see there, having a captain or somebody to supervise the detectives would help greatly. Recently, we had a detective resign because of the workload. It's very overwhelming. It's very emotionally challenging. Having 3 out the gate with a supervisor that's checking on them and helping them goes a long way. And then as far as like evidence and all the tasks administration does, it would enhance that. They bring additional civilian staff and leadership. Go back one more, please, and thank you. This is our patrol. This is, on the top is where we're at right now. So any given night, we got 2 officers on and a sergeant. Again, if we were to do this, most of the time, 3 out of 4 nights, so we have 4 different shifts, it would be 4 officers on, 2 sergeants on. And we could break that
That's
down.
in 2 cities.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's just not here,
So,
right?
so
Right,
so
correct.
it's the same.
No, you have you have a sergeant and an officer in Perry, and then you have a sergeant and 3 officers out here, compared to 1 sergeant and 2 officers on a good night, There's some shifts where we actually only have 1 sergeant and 1 officer. So it adds a full staff member there, and then it also adds their capacity. Instead of people working alone, people don't have to work alone anymore. So again, I'm not saying this is the perfect solution long-term. At some point, we're going to have to add staff, but it gets us through now. The other benefit of this is there's non-committal. We've written the contract with our legal in a way that if this isn't working out and the stats don't support us doing it, we're going to abort. And that's something we'll present back to the council after the pilot period to reevaluate if it's something we want to continue. And believe me, me and Bo talked about this the other day. He's fully supportive. He wanted me to tell you that, but he's like, what's the downside? And if I'm really getting bare bones on it, the biggest downside is it's a lot more work for me because now it's navigating 3 different councils. But aside from that, we have a police board we're going to put together for that. There's really not a downside to trying it and learning from it to see if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we go back and then we do what we have to do to fix the issue. But it does add an officer on that shift and them. And it also gives us flexibility. God forbid you have 2 guys out or something, you can take from one city to make sure we're on minimum staffing in both cities. It just gives you a lot more flexibility. Whereas if we got 3 tonight and I have 2 call in, now I'm doing emergency overtime, where I'm like going down the list and praying that somebody takes that, otherwise somebody's working alone, which is unsafe. Instead of just saying, hey, instead of working Perry tonight, you're going to Tremont. So, will you jump back to where we were real quick? Yeah, and then, Chief, you want to say anything? I don't want to.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity. So this has come up a few times, you know, why not Brigham? They're our next door neighbor. And there's a few things that made us decide to approach y'all. First and foremost is you guys have been doing this with Garland for a very long time, and the whole county notices that. I definitely noticed that, and it seems from our perspective to be a success, and we are eager to join in. You know, but Chief kind of alluded to this earlier, we work together already through different cases. In fact, we've done proactive, prostitution cases out here. We've taken drugs off the streets out here. Just organically, our guys really work very well together. So that was really important to me. And one of the main drivers on my end, the biggest reason I think is the fact that we share similar problems with what you guys are dealing with. We're a small town. We're experiencing growing pains just like you guys, and we're trying to figure out how do we navigate our citizens' expectations for public safety and, balancing the growth that is coming in our community. And this is just, like Chief said, a creative way to address those issues. So.
Have you even contacted Brigham City where you share a border? I don't see this section. I don't see this working where we do not share a border. Yes, Garland, we share a border. It makes total sense. We're right next to each other. I don't see this. Anytime you change anything in a big structure like this, there's a ripple down effect. Even with dispatch, there's been a ripple down effect, and there's been downsides to that. And I've found out about them, and I have heard about it. I've listened to the public residents. I have been on the phone from people from here to Salt Lake City. There are complications that this could cause. I don't see how Brigham City is staffed in their department down there in Perry. You're saying we don't have enough here, but if we take from them, then they don't have enough. I'm not buying this. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think the best way for me to address that, and it's your level of involvement, how it works is I can arrange for you to go see it firsthand in Salt Lake, because it does work. I mean, you have them doing a regional policing model between, as far as Magna to Mill Creek. And what the ripple effect is you get more services at less cost. Is it challenging? Yes. Did they have trouble? Absolutely. Did it fail initially? Absolutely. But the benefit you guys have is, I came from that. I've dealt with that for, 16 years of my career. I saw what failed. I know what's working for them now, and that's what the model's built on. And it has involvement with a board made up of council members and or the mayor, where you can help guide that organization and make big decisions that work for everybody. So if that's something you're interested in, I can assure you it does work. They use it throughout the United States. It is a working model. Does it work here? I don't know. The only way we know is if we try. And that's why this is built as a trial. If at any point it doesn't make financial sense, if there's unknown complications, if anything is failing, we have the ability to abort that. But the contrary is we look at adding more funding, and that sucks. It sucks to raise taxes. I live here, I pay taxes too. It's maybe inevitable, but if we can spare a year, that's great. If we can plan a steady flow of income as we grow, that would be great too. But this is kind of the situation we found ourselves in. As far as dispatch, I'd say, yeah, I'm not going to tell you everything's been perfect. There's been no issues. There has been issues. But what I can say unequivocally is the service we get and the safety we've experienced far outweigh any of the annoyances that we've had to deal with. And they're very receptive to change. Will you jump down to the end? I think we're almost through all this. Just real quick, legal and financial, it's all been checked. It's not going to affect towing fees. I know that came up. It's been reviewed by legal. There was some concerns about double taxation with the sheriff's office, not applicable because the sheriff's office isn't involved. So it's all legally compliant. Risk comparison, this is just a side-by-side review Again, one has tax pressure, multi-year costs, it's hard to undo, and it's long-term costs. It may be inevitable, we may be heading that direction anyway, but this gives us time to plan. The contract's written where our city retains full control, it's fully reversible, has an immediate impact, and it doesn't require tax right now. Here's the options I've come up with, and like I said at the beginning of the slide, if you have a third or fourth or fifth option, I'm all about it. One option, we can hire officers. I'd say start with 2, and we'd shoot for the goal of 5 over time. It's a permanent cost. Option 2 is a 1-year trial with Perry. There's no tax, immediate staffing relief, and we can see if there's measurable and reversible if it doesn't work out. So there's metrics we can check to see how it's working. And I'm happy to do a monthly report with the council as well on the pros and cons. The option 3 is we don't do anything. And then that puts us in a bad spot where we have to look at possibly reducing services in the form of investigation or SRO. We have 2, we're blessed to have 2 SROs out here. It's the last thing I want to do, but it's also a luxury.
But
Go ahead.
The school district pays
For
half
one
of
of them.
their salary, right?
Yeah, for half of one, yeah, and they get 2.
And the state would also send somebody in if they cut that.
But
Not that
my
I'm aware
question is, I'm sure before, but for the last 2 years I've been here, I think we've been more than supportive of the police department.
Yeah.
financially or whatever.
Absolutely.
And in April, we did ask, you know, we did the cost of living there and the raises and the whole thing, and, you know, we're good, but now we're 5 down, and that's concerning, because if we do this and in 3 more months, we're slammed, because I don't think they're gonna build a ton of houses in 3 months, then
Sure.
that, we gotta figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. And we've been down for a while. We went through a critical incident, and our top priority at that time to survive was to retain. And we did a good job of that. And I'm not saying you guys haven't been supportive, and the prior council's been very supportive. I'm just giving you the reality. At the end of the day, you get to make those decisions. I'm just giving you options. Honestly, I feel like I've caught the most resistance on this proposal, yet it requires the least amount of commitment. And in my mind, it's the safest option to try that may save us a significant amount of money year over year. I can't guarantee success. I'm pretty certain, otherwise I wouldn't bring it to the table. And if it fails, like I said, anywhere along the lines, I'm more than happy to end this thing. We have the ability, we're in control.
How do your officers feel?
Yeah, okay, great question. I think it's the next slide. You're right on top of it. Again, we talked about this, doesn't fix long-term. We're still behind on staffing, but it does buy us time. Skip forward, please. This is our thing. And it was great to hear the officers, because it actually was like the last council meeting. There was a lot of confusion on how it helps our staffing. So right out the gate, 47% support the merger, 23% just don't know enough to make a decision, and the rest, they don't like it. They had a section to give feedback. The biggest reason is the fear that it was going to benefit Perry more than us. It doesn't. The numbers don't support that. So we did some education piece on it. Now, with that said, we still had a 69% believe it would have a positive impact on safety, service, and the community. So I would say if we redid the survey, we'd have more support now that they've been educated on the numbers, and I showed them, kind of like we went through tonight, the side-by-side and how it does add that. But this was our initial survey results. So I'd say the majority do support it. 1-year evaluation, this is the last slide. We could test it for a year. Again, here's some sample metrics we can track: officer availability per shift, how well are we staffed, how much are we going to minimum staffing, cost share per resident for police services. We should see a reduction in that when you put all the numbers together. This one's huge to me because I know our caseload and the types of cases we have. Detective per caseload. We have one detective carrying 21 cases, child sex crime cases. That's hard. They actually bring detectives to offload some of that. And our case clearance rates. That shows us how long our case is sitting before we get to them because we're overwhelmed. Sick leave, turnover rate, injury leave, easy to track, things we can report back at the end. And I think.
Does Perry have the same, they can pull if it's not working for them?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing their council asked for specifically, is they want the ability to For us, the challenge for us is to track it, see if it works. If it doesn't work, they can pull the plug, we can pull the plug. It's really non-committal, and that was verified and emphasized with our attorney.
Perry City also, they have an interest in a monthly performance update, which very happy to do, so.
Yeah, and this just summarizes everything we talked about. The bottom line is it does have a strong upside, minimal risk, no tax increase, and fully reversible. So my recommendation as your chief is that we try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we can end it.
So I'm a metric guy, so what is it they're asking for every month?
Basically, what he's got laid out here, we have a plan, and I apologize I didn't bring it. It was more of a draft, honestly, but it kind of outlines, okay, how do we measure this thing? And these are the benefits that we put under the pilot period purpose. So how do we measure that? And we have kind of a plan and things to look for and reporting guidelines, so.
Is there any questions?
Council, you've got 3 minutes.
No, we need to take a break. We don't have 4 minutes. I have a lot of questions. I have done a lot of research. And I feel like the research I've done it has nothing to do with a bias here or a bias there. I've gone back and read a lot of the reports and things on Unified in Salt Lake that fell through. I visited with a gentleman today in Logan. Logan tried it, not Logan, but two of the outside, Hyde Park and
Hyde Park and North Park.
North, yeah, they tried it, and they've gone back. It's not really working for them all that great.
Do they border each other, those two?
Yeah, they do. They share a border, that's why they tried it. We're not sharing a border, but we're saying we're down 5 officers. I'm just not buying the cake. I'm telling you the truth.
I look at it like this. When we, at the last meeting, entertaining the idea of how do we replace Jeff? And going with the concept that was working somewhere else. We hadn't tried it before. Other cities in here hadn't tried it before, but the consensus was, let's try it and see if it works, right? I was supportive of trying to see if it works, and I think all the chief's asking is that we try this to see if it works. We're not out anything. I mean, it's not like we're having to commit a section of the budget or we need to restripe cars or anything like that. The only thing that it hurts is our own pride.
So how are you going to divide your time with Tremont and Garland and Perry?
Same way we do it with Garland right now. So it's delegation. That's what the command is for, right? So Perry and then Skylar really helps with Garland. And then I do my best to consistently communicate. The other thing is to have a police board with a sitting member from each city to discuss major issues. And part of that is in the contract, and it allows anybody to call the board together if there's a concern or something we need to talk about. And just one rebuttal to what you said, because I agree and I understand your skepticism, and I think it's wise to be skeptic, especially if something that's new to us. But one advantage we have is we have made it work here, which I think is awesome. I mean, we've done it with Garland, and then, not to overpromise and underdeliver, but I do bring 16 years of seeing how bad it's felt, living there, knowing the uncertainty in that environment, and seeing what actually works now that I bring to the table to help us make it work. And I promise you, one thing I can promise every council member here is if this doesn't work, you'll be the first to know. I have no personal attachment to the outcome. All I'm trying to do is find a way to fix a problem without always having to ask you good people for help. And it's always financial help. I've done it year after year. You've always came through. The irony is now I'm not asking for money, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of pushback, which is great, but there's really no harm in trying it. If it fails, so be it. I mean, we'll move on. That's my 2 cents.
Pushback might be just, for me, it's just a, you know what I mean? I want to be, but it's just compounds. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, and it's
Thought
hard.
we were good. you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, with officers and stuff.
Yeah, all that. I mean, Brent alludes to all this stuff, but wait for a budget year to go through. There's just not enough budget for,
I know. And
that's the hard part.
well, you're right, and it's a citywide problem. I mean, it's not just us that's stressed with our resources, it's every other department. So I really do feel for you. That's why I was excited to bring you a solution that doesn't require finances. So, again, it's an option. You guys can choose to do it or not do it. That's up to you.
Let's take 5 minutes and we'll.
Please, 5 minutes.
Thank you, chiefs.
6 minutes?
4, you can have 4.
So we're here at 7 o'clock.
Good job.
Time to start our meeting. We'd like to welcome everyone out to our meeting today. And so I'll call it to order, and we'll turn the time over to Cynthia for a roll call.
Okay. I will do roll call for the February 17th meeting. Councilmember Jex.
Here.
Councilmember Bocat.
Here.
Councilmember Euler.
Here.
Councilmember Westergaard.
Here.
A quorum present.
You just do that.
Well, we'd like to go right to our opening ceremony. Today we have, did we have someone giving us the invocation? Oh, I guess I'll do it. Right? Okay, and then Pledge of Allegiance was by, okay, so I will start out with a prayer, and then we'll turn the time over to Dave for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this opportunity to meet tonight as a city council. We ask Thy Spirit to be here with us. Help us that we can discuss the issues at hand. Help us that we can debate and that we can discuss everything that's important, and that we can make the decisions that will move our wonderful city forward towards our vision and our mission. We're thankful for all of the people that serve in this city, and for our citizens that serve and help us, and for all the great citizens of this city. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
We ask everybody to please, if you're a veteran, you may salute. If not, place your hands over your heart, remove your headgear while we say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll make it.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay. Again, we'll go through a declaration of conflict of interest. Does anyone have a declaration of conflict of interest?
No.
No.
Okay. With none, we'll move forward. We have a presentation for years of service for Tiffany Jensen. Chief, Tiffany, is it? I'm saying it right, Tiffany? Okay.
Sorry, go on up, Tiffany. And she actually has a name changes. Buxton, did I say it right? Buxton? Yes, Tiffany Buxton. So Tiffany has been with us for 10 years. I'll turn that way so they can see. Perfect. Tiffany's, I have to stand here because of the mic, so. Tiffany is awesome. Tiffany was raised in Idaho. I'm guessing born there as well. She has 3 awesome children, and from those children, she has 5, almost 6 grandchildren. And she started her journey in the fire service back in 2008 in the Honeyville Fire Department. And she enjoys spending time with her family, mostly doing camping and ATV riding. Her favorite quote is, "The only thing that is consistent is change," which is very true, Tiffany. And then, let's see, where did I go here? Her favorite genre of music is country music. And her motto is, "It's okay not to be okay." So Tiffany, thank you for your 10 years of service. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Tiffany. It's great to have you
Thank you.
here. Okay, now it's time for our citizen engagement section. Hard conversations require the honest truth and a respectful tone. We are committed to fixing the problems without making it personal. Let's keep the conversation productive so we can get back to the work of building a greater Tremont. Do we have anyone signed up on the door? We'll take any citizens that have signed up on the door first. We are working on our citizen app, and so that would take the highest priority in the future, but we're not there yet. And so without anyone on the door, we'll go ahead and let people come at their own convenience. They'll get 3 minutes apiece, and we'll take up to 30 minutes. We now move to the general public comments. This is a time for residents to speak on anything not on the strategic business, which right now it means you can talk about anything. The time is yours. Come on up.
I wasn't actually planning to do this, but my daughter was going to come and she was not able to. But I have some, oh, you want my name? Charlotte Nelson. Do you want my address?
No.
Okay. I just have some concerns about our collaboration. So for everyone's information that doesn't know, I'm on the Garland City Council. It has come to my attention through my daughter who works at the library, not through my normal chains of command. So I'm suspicious that you guys might not know as well, that our libraries have been collaborating together, but as of recently, they're splitting. And I don't know all of the details on that split. I am suspicious it is a personnel preference and not what the community has desired that they want. And so that concerns me. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I would encourage you to talk to your librarian, talk to our librarian, talk to your employers, your employees, and see what that's all about. I think that for two communities, they're really trying to work together to unite and do what's best for both of our communities and allow people common services. This may not be what's best for our communities, so I just wanted to throw that out there and make you aware. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public comment section of our city council meeting. We now have before us the consent agenda, which includes minutes, finances, and resolutions. The resolutions that are for vote tonight are the Bear River PUD, resolution number 26-14, resolution number 26-15 on the ground lease agreement, and
Interlocal with Brigham Fire.
oh yeah, and then the resolution 2616, the interlocal agreement with Brigham City for fire and EMS. Those are the three resolutions on the
Or I was going to say, yeah, compensation.
on the compensation plan. Okay, so we have those four. Does any council member wish to remove any item for separate discussion?
Oh, possibly. I am going to go on the advice of Councilman Westergaard, though.
What? I was going to vote for it.
What it?
What, on what?
On the number G, Resolution 2616. I had some reserve about that. I wasn't sure about that. And listening to you where it's already gone through, I appreciate your comments. I really do. I'm having some anxiety on Resolution 2614, adopting River Valley PUD.
So do you want to move that?
Let's move it to strategic, if you will, please.
Okay, so we'll move resolution number 2614 to the strategic business. So the consent agenda will not include that one. Okay. it will include all the others. So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda without item number 26-14.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, no, I think where we have resolutions, we probably ought to be safe. Go ahead.
Councilmember Jex?
Yes.
Councilmember Boca?
Yes.
Councilmember Euler?
Yes.
Councilmember Westergaard?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Now we'll go on to our strategic business, and we will discuss resolution number 26-14, adopting River Valley. And this is the time for you, Jeff. I mean, if you have any questions for Jeff, any discussion, this is the time to have that.
My big issue with some of the PUDs is the density. I think we're adding so much density in this city that we can't keep up. We're obviously seeing it with the police department. We can't keep up. I have questions about that density. I feel like, sitting in the meeting I sat with Christine Epling the other night, I felt the residents' pain, and I heard their voices. They are concerned about the high density and what it is doing to this town, and can we keep up? We have yet to put in a development that has paid for itself. We're always subsidizing. And in this one, I realize, and I can't throw Jeff under the bus. It's not what I'm trying to do at all. He didn't make this deal. It was 4 I had to count, city managers ago that made this deal to where we're paying for 65% of the roads, we're paying for upsizing. I visited with several different communities. Most of them don't pay to upsize storm drains. I would love to see some changes there, but the high density, the development out on Iowa String, the residents were shocked when they saw the high density. And I'll be honest with you, I was too. But this one, I have questions about the high density, so I'm a definite no.
I was going to put on my city council hat here, and it just went over my head, so what do you guys think? Oh, I know I was going to ask, where there was a previous development agreement and all that was laid out by 3 city managers ago, are we held by any kind of a legal precedent to follow those, or you're now, I guess that's why you're coming to us with a new development agreement that would kind of oversee any of those?
Oh, correct. So the terms from those development agreements are copied and reiterated in this development agreement. Because those terms were spread out between phase 7, 8, and 9. It was a process to go through and find all of them. And so I thought for clarity and for the ability for the city to execute those terms, it'd be easier to have them in one that was more recently adopted. To be clear with this PUD has very little to do with density. The zoning, the underlying zoning permitted this. We just felt in discussing with the developer that instead of designing to the mixed use standards, it would be more beneficial and more clear to go through the PUD and allow for that overlay to help guide the approval process. Our mixed use zone as it's currently written allows for everything to be decided as part of the site plan. And so, I mean, there aren't a lot of regulations to make decisions against. So I appreciated the developer being willing to do that. It honestly didn't add any more doors to this development as is. It just kind of helped give us a better road path for approving the development.
What's the zoning, the basic zoning?
Mixed use.
Oh, mixed use.
So, which is why the Ashfield apartments are right next door, because those are permitted use under the MU zone.
As I recall, this is also part of a future plan of like a downtown along that road where we have stores and whatnot. And
Yeah, the hard part is that the west part of this page is the end of the property line for the current landowners. And so anything west of this would have to go through an annexation process to come into the city.
And the Stokes Park's right there on the corner, right?
Yeah, it's just right south
Right
of the.
below there, the little angled part.
Yep.
So
And it's the Bear Mountain Road,
it's the bottom part of that.
that one, okay.
So that's their road. So everything south of that road is Stokes Park. And so the upsizing storm drain is to help convey all of the storm drain from the canals to get down to Stokes Park to be released. And so it's standard practice that the city uses some of our impact fees to help pay for that upsized cost. We only pay for the material costs. We don't pay for them to.
I mean, they're gonna put it in, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and then it's gonna go into our park for the,
Yeah, so we just pay for the difference between the 15-inch pipe that is city standard and the 36-inch pipe, so that's the only difference we pay for in upsizing costs.
now I'm sure that we would have negotiated different in the past on this, but this is what we, like you said, this is kind of what we got handed.
It is what we got handed,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and Jeff has to deal with that.
Where's Stokes Park?
Stokes Park is right west of,
Thanks, Cynthia.
right down there. I drove over there the other day. There's some storage units and it's just to the west and then
by
it's gonna
McDonald's.
kind of go over by the freeway, kind of on that.
Over there by the Stokes guys?
Left a little.
Well, they sold it. They sold it. Stokes has sold it. That's what it's
So
called.
it's, yeah, Cynthia's right. So this is the McDonald's intersection at 2300 in Main.
Yeah.
And that's, that brown spot, that whole thing is Stokes Park.
It's right by where they were talking about the pickleball.
And this is the point of the meeting that makes this so fun, is we can have public interaction. So, because now we've got 10 minutes of anyone that wants to get up and talk or ask questions, or anyone that, you've got time for public interaction, so you're welcome to. Does anyone have any comments on this? Besides, where's Stokes Park, huh?
Both were wondering where it was. We'd never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a new park, and that's where they
It's
came.
nothing yet.
It's nothing yet.
Yeah, that's what you just told us that. That's why we haven't seen it.
Hopefully that we'll get some pickleball courts there, huh? Yeah.
Not a passion. He's passing me notes.
Come on up and talk. Love to hear from you.
Possibly. We've looked at parts of Stokes Park detention basins becoming a dog park as well, but we're still finalizing the plan for the park, because we've been wanting to see what happens between the sports complex and Stokes Park, and waiting as well for the parks master plan to be updated.
Great. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Amanda Jones. My comment goes along with Christy, is if there's any way to avoid high density, there's already high density there. I live in one of the townhomes, I own it. And I was told, I know I talked to a couple of you about a week ago, what was going on over here. And it looks like we're gonna get a whole bunch of apartments again in that area. And we've already got a whole bunch of townhomes. I don't mind the townhomes as much because there's a little more space for that, not just everyone on top of each other. We do have that apartment complex on the, just not very far away from this. I can't remember.
Asheville?
Ashfield.
I think so. I didn't know the name, but there's just one. And then the rest of it's just townhomes. These townhomes are booming up like nothing. And I've only lived there 2 years come this spring. And just to know that there's going to be more apartments coming in there is going to get so heavy with the flow. It's already gotten really heavy with the townhomes that have been going in this past year. We've even noticed a difference in our water pressure over this last year with everything that's been going up with the townhomes in this area. So it sounded like it was a done deal with the apartment complex going in, but if I can persuade you whatsoever, if there is a way to not let that in, I would be most appreciative. Like I said, I don't mind the townhomes as much. It is a little more high density, but you've got owners, you've got renters, you've got kind of a mix, and there's a little more space than if you're just packing each, doing levels and apartments and all that. So that's what I have to say.
These are just townhomes. All
Oh,
13
okay.
phases are just townhomes.
Just townhomes? Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that, if it was
'Cause
it looks like townhomes.
Yeah,
Well, I know last week I talked to you, and there was going to be another apartment complex going in just north of me, and I'm on 5th North.
And if you ask me, I'm a bad resource. So.
Well, we've had surveyors on 500 North and about 2650 West coming in to the Sorensen ground. We've been seeing surveyors and all sorts of people coming in, so that's what I was wondering was going in there. And my understanding was it was going to be an apartment complex over there.
No apartments over here. Just these townhomes and then the single-family homes that were approved with the Hidden Valley development.
Okay.
Good, I'm glad you asked.
Thank you.
What are our options?
Approved, we're just approved.
I mean, yeah, this has gone through DRC. This is met approval. I need to go I'm pretty positive it's gone through planning commission, but, at this point, it's just agreeing to the terms that have been in the development agreement. Thanks, Lindsay, for slowly whispering that.
So this is all townhomes then, Jeff, right? How many in total? I can't read the fine print, I'm sorry.
But it's how many phases, how many years?
It's 4 phases. It'll probably take 5 to 6 years to build this many. The total number of units is 134.
Does the school district still have ground over there somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah, and we've met with them. They're going forward with constructing something. And I'd said that the pond here at Stokes Park had been sized to handle their space, so they wouldn't need to worry about having to take up room for any kind of stormwater. So, which will save them a parking lot configuration that I didn't agree with.
Great. Any other public? Well, thank you. Any other discussion that you would like to have? Okay, then with that, I would entertain a motion on Resolution 26-14, the River Valley PUD.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 26-14 to approve the river PUD.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Jex?
Yes.
Councilmember Boca?
No.
Councilmember Euler?
Yes.
Councilmember Westergaard?
Yes.
Motion
Okay,
passes.
it passes on a 3-1 vote. Thank you so much. All right. Calendar. So we got the fundraiser dinner this Saturday at 5 o'clock at the fairgrounds.
In the Fine Arts Building.
Fine Arts Building, so everyone that wants to come and donate to that, they're welcome to do so. And then we have the food drive on March 14th. Anything else you can think of we got going?
Probably a little early, but we do have spring cleanup scheduled for May 6th through the 8th, I believe.
And they're going to do the dumpsters at the plant?
Yes, I believe so.
Just, okay, how they did it in last year.
What date was that? May what? May 6th through the 8th.
No, I know last year they didn't have them on the weekend, but isn't that when people, I hate to say it, but
But the landfill wouldn't let us do it on a Saturday. Is the 8th, what is the 8th?
Yeah, Wednesday through Friday.
Yeah, the landfill, it's something with the landfill on Saturday.
They're only open
every other
Saturdays
Saturday.
a month or something.
I think Carl is still planning on a tour of the treatment plant.
Yes.
Yeah.
March 17th.
March
is what I'm
17th, yes, is what he's still saying.
Were we doing that at 5?
Excited.
4, so then we could still, well, because he thought it would take an hour and a half.
He thought it would take a little over an hour.
Half, and then get us a half hour to get back here to start the meeting, so.
Okay. City manager report, do you have anything?
Nothing specific. I mean, it's been a busy, it's busy. Been a real busy couple of weeks. I was just gonna tell you, we did have a department head meeting on last Thursday. We are having those regularly. We've had, what, 3 now? 2 now? 3 now? Every month, second Thursday of every month. We are gonna start working, our personnel policies and procedures manual has been neglected for some time. We're going to begin working on that. I will give the policies to our department heads to review for a couple weeks, and then I'm still getting clarification from Dalton. He hasn't, our city attorney, he hasn't written me back yet, but we've always brought those to the city council before in resolution form to pass. We're making sure that's,
Yeah. We may just make them available
Done,
for you to
yeah.
read. We'll
or
see.
yeah, just if we,
Yeah.
anyway. You'll see them regardless if you're approving them or not, you'll see changes coming forward. And then once we have all of that updated and where it needs to be, the trust, our insurance company, is offering a legal type review of your policies just to make sure that everything's up to snuff and we're good on that, so. So that's gonna be on top of budget. That will be my big push for the next little while, is getting all those policies where they need to be.
Is there a, so in the police department, we use what's called Lexipol, and it's, what it is, it's kind of a standardized policy and procedure throughout the country, and then you can tweak it for your municipality. Is there anything like that for cities? Like, is there a Lexipol for city management?
Fire's got it and you've got it.
I don't know, just a
I don't know.
thought, like, if
We
that's something
already
that.
have policies in place. There
Yeah,
just
I mean, if
needs
it would just help us keep them updated, like
Yeah.
it kind of self-updates and then,
Yeah.
I don't know. just a
that I don't
thought.
know, or if that's specifically public safety, I don't know.
Or I just give
I'll
somebody
look
a
into
business
it.
idea.
Yeah, no, $1 million idea.
I think that's great, you're having your department head meetings, I think that's really important
Yes.
to do.
Yeah.
They've been
Really
good,
well
haven't they? Yeah, whatever.
To an hour, or we try, right?
Yeah, an
close to
hour. Yeah,
so
that's
it's not wasting
time limit, yeah.
people's Time, we know we're all busy and another meeting is another meeting, but it's good to coordinate and.
Yes, I feel like it is too.
Them, so. And we've got a lot of new department heads. We're a fairly young
Yeah.
when it comes to department head tenure at this point, so.
Great. And I don't really have much to report. I write you guys that. Does that email I send you guys
Yes.
help?
Yes,
Mel, thank you.
Okay.
yes.
I send them an email once a week about what's happened during the week, and so.
I think it's great.
So, can I send everybody an email? Les Olson has created an email for me that is specific to the council, so it doesn't intertwine with the police email, and so that's just brentjex@tremontandcity.gov. So if you would use those on council correspondence.
We'll do that.
Help me out.
And that, you know, where we can't respond, and Dustin's not here, I guess you'd see him, it's, the old way, we'd say, hey, yeah, great job, and it was just all kind of a, but at least we get it and don't have to respond and make it worse. Sometimes it's something that he doesn't want to listen, doesn't want to see what it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it's good to know, and I guess he knows that you can't, it's not to respond, so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that in mind, I'll take a motion to end this meet. Oh, yes, Jeff.
I didn't know if Bo communicated this, but I've been working with him to schedule a night for economic development to help talk with the council, and right now I think it's tentatively scheduled for the 19th of March. Because when you get Bo and Sean Milne from Bragg together, it took 8 weeks of, does this Thursday work for you to get down to one where it worked for both of them?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
At like 6 or?
I think
What
it's
time yet?
planned for 6 to 8:30. And it's just gonna be the council.
What day of the week's that?
Thursday.
Thursday.
We figured Tuesdays were busy, Wednesdays were busy, Fridays were unwanted, Saturdays were out of the option, Sunday was off, so.
I'm going to
So March 19th?
St. George for a couple weeks.
Oh, the 12th? I don't have that.
No, this would just be for the count,
Yeah,
I mean.
I think we're only doing, I
But-
think the town, we're gonna do town hall every other month, so
Oh,
you
okay.
can, we'll just do it in April. And, yeah, okay, great.
Jeff, sorry, 6?
Yeah, 6 to 8:30, I believe is the schedule right now, but I'll communicate through Bo to all of you,
Okay.
make sure that's true.
Okay, great. And we had a town hall this week, and I thought it was great. We had about this many people that are here, but it was great, and it was fun to talk to people, so.
Sorry I couldn't
Thank
be
you.
there. Previous plan.
Yeah.
Wasn't gonna break it.
Okay, anything else? Okay, a motion?
I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Those
Yes.
opposed? Okay, we're done.
No. Wow.